on more great adventures? And even at a higher level, why don't people take on greater challenges, whether it's starting a company, learning a language? And the biggest reason you see in the mirror every morning, and it's you. When people are presented with challenges, they often, the first step is they think of 5 reasons why they can't do it. It's too expensive, it takes too much time, I wouldn't know where to start. So at the end of this presentation, I'm going to show you how to get rid of that shackle and so that you can live your one and only life to the max. Okay, but it's a hay fever. Okay, I researched a lot of alternatives to see the northern lights. I found cheapest and easiest was the Arctic Circle north of Fairbanks. You fly into Fairbanks, you do it during winter, that's the best time to see the northern lights, and you do it during a full moon. This is water. You do it during a new moon, so there's no light pollution. And I would allow a couple extra days in Fairbanks, because that's really a neat, funky city. And I would plan to be up there, I say, 5 nights. They say in order to see the lights, you need a combination of clear sky and solar activity. And those two have to come together. The experts say if you plan on being up there 3 nights, you got a 90% chance of seeing them. I was up there 5 nights. We saw the northern lights 1 night out of 5, so I was glad I did that. But anyway, you take the Dalton Highway from Fairbanks north about 250 miles to Coldfoot. Now, highway, they have a different idea what a highway is. In the summer, that's gravel. In the winter, that's just ice and packed snow. Or you can get a bush pilot to take you up to Coldfoot. Coldfoot is nothing but a truck stop and plywood barracks left over from when they constructed the pipeline. Be prepared with proper camera equipment and technique, because you're shooting something and you're going to have an exposure time of anywhere from 20 to 30 seconds, so you at least need a tripod. And I probably don't need to say this, but I'll say it anyway. Dress properly. It's going to be sub-zero. And I recommend a neoprene face mask. Brian asked me to tell you about outfitters. I arranged a lot of it, but for this stretch, I used Northern Alaska Tour Company, and I stayed at Pike's Waterfront Lodge in Fairbanks, which is a great place. Waterfront in that it's on the river, but you're not going to see any water in winter. In fact, the whole population of Fairbanks just ignores bridges in winter, and they just drive across the river anywhere it's convenient. So we're in a Ford F-350 van with all-wheel drive and dualies. I'm doing stop the clock.
I'll give you an extra minute.
What did I do wrong?
I think it's just you.
It's just me.
I don't know.
Okay. Also, under the vehicles going up in the Arctic Circle, they have this device which is like a giant weed whacker, and it knocks the snow out from in front of the wheels. Okay, as you can see, they get a little bit of snow up there. So if you're going to be bushwhacking, it's a little tough. But the scenery is there. Here we're approaching the Arctic Circle, and there's a trading post there where I met Yukon Jeremy. And if you ever watched Ice Road Truckers, he has appeared on there. And what he basically does is he traps animals, sells the pelts, but when you skin an animal, you cut off the tail and the feet and stuff like that, and he sells that to tourists coming through. I passed on animal tails and claws, but not everybody did. I don't know where he spends his money, not on a dentist. This is where we stayed up in Coldfoot. It's named Coldfoot because people traveling north of the Bering Sea generally chickened out about this point and got cold feet. You're going to have cold feet. Okay, now we're getting into the northern lights. We went out at night away from where we were staying because they said there was too much light pollution. There's two buildings. How much light pollution could there be? So we were basically in the woods. You will not see it in these colors with your naked eye. Your camera will see it because it's collecting 24 seconds, 28 seconds worth of color. But to the naked eye, it's not going to be that brilliant, so I don't want you to be disappointed when you get out. You're standing out there 2 in the morning. It's about 35 below zero with wind chill about 45 below zero. We had a little hut with a iron or potbelly stove. That doesn't help a hell of a lot. And I don't care what you wear, the cold gets through to you.
You actually see them move like curtains.
Kind of, yeah. It depends the intensity. Some nights it's just going to be, it almost look like clouds up there, not real intense. But yeah, they do undulate. Okay, this is during the day, 15 below zero. That's the warm part of the day. And as you can see with the wind chill, even with 10 miles an hour, 15 below feels like, minus, what is it? Oh, wait, minus 35. It's cold. In fact, it doesn't feel like cold. It feels like pain. But so during the day, such as it is, we're finding things to do. Went up into the Brooks Range and we were sled riding down the mountains and we thought, 3 or 4 runs will be enough. 1 run was enough. We were pretty chilly. You want to stay pretty close to the road or stuff as you sink there. His next step, he was down to his armpits, and it took 2 of us to drag him out. The scenery is absolutely incredible. This was an outhouse up there. Try and imagine this at 40 below. We were at 45 below there. You try not to have to drop your pants there. Also, you got to watch out for avalanches. Now, we're standing on a river. You can't really tell from this, but that is aqua velvet blue. And a lot of the ice up there is. And there's herds of reindeer, caribou, and stuff walking around. And I don't know if you can see it, ptarmigan. The birds up there are white. And believe it or not, this is another activity during the day, dog sledding. And these are the warm weather dogs. When it gets below 20, they get the colder weather dogs out. These dogs, they just love this weather. And they live in dog houses, heated. And when you stop to cool off, they roll around in the snow. It's like below zero, but they got to cool off. This is a tourist shot, and that's me in a Fairbanks barn. You can tell I'm the tourist because I'm not wearing short sleeves or have my sleeves pushed up. And the reason is their utility takes the cooling water from the boilers, pumps it back downtown in steam, and everybody's got cheap heat, so they keep the thermostat up around 82. Okay, this is the Ice Palace. And everything in it is made out of ice. It's made out of ice. This is the bar. They give you a little pad for when you're sitting there. And their joke is they give you a free apple martini and you can keep the glass as a souvenir. The glass is ice. But it is one of the amazing things in Fairbanks to see. We took the vehicle up and we flew back down to Fairbanks. And the scenery from your aircraft is incredible. Okay, I promise you the grand finale. How to enjoy life. First of all, think of the 25 things that you'd really want to do in life. that you'd regret not doing in life and write them down. No restriction. When you're making this list, don't stop yourself and say, no, I can't do that. I'm too old or I don't have enough money. Write down the 25 things you really want to do to make this a great life. Then prioritize them. Take the top 5 and then break them down into steps. That's the Swami principle, because in life, when we look at a big project, oh man, that looks hard. But you slice it into little slices, and then it looks more manageable. You eat that first slice, and select the ones you are willing to take the first step in within the next 2 months, and you do it. You act, and you will go through life, and you will have done things, and you don't want to end up at the end of life regretting. You don't regret the things you've done, you regret the things you haven't done. But you can do it. As Henry Ford said, and I'll end in his quote, he said, buy a Ford. No, he said, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.